After growing up in hard times in West Virginia, Walls became an entertainment reporter covering the famous until she joined that club herself with the publication of her memoir. The Glass Castle sold more than 6 million copies and was adapted into that film. Walls' new book, Hang the Moon, published by Simon & Schuster, a part of Paramount Global, took 8 years to write, though it deals with some of the same themes of family, neglect, and ultimately triumph.
A very wise man once said to me, he said, secrets are a little bit like vampires. They suck the life out of you, but they can exist only in the darkness. Once they're exposed to the light, there's a moment of horror, but then, poof, they lose their power. And I've just found that to be very true, that these things that haunted me for so long, they're now just something that happened to me.
Jeanette Walls started living her life in the light as she wrote The Glass Castle. Shortly after it became a mega bestseller, she left New York City.
You spent half your life here.
I spent a long time, half my life, that's right.
We met Walls at the Back Room, said to be one of only 2 Prohibition-era speakeasies still operating in New York. A fitting location for the subject of her latest novel, one she's been fascinated with since childhood.
My father was a raging alcoholic, and I thought I wanted to live in this wondrous time called Prohibition, where it was illegal everywhere to drink. And Mom said, oh no, it was horrible. It was a complete disaster. It backfired all horribly. And I didn't believe her. But then I started reading up on it. She was absolutely right.
Hang the Moon is set during that time in the same part of Virginia Walls now calls home. It tells the story of a young girl named Sally Kincaid, who's exiled by her father before returning to help run the family bootlegging business.
I love the story of this woman who survives and prospers against all odds, but at a great price.
Writing fiction did not come easy to Walls, though she was no stranger to it growing up. She describes her parents as fabulous liars who had a relationship of convenience with the truth.
Any journalist or biographer or memoirist knows that we choose our truths, that we select what we tell and how to tell it. Anybody who's answered the question, how was your day, chooses which truth to tell. Do we talk about the guy who cut us off in traffic or the lovely store clerk who told us to have a great day? And I'm just now trying to understand the degree to which you can tell the truth and make things up at the same time, which is what my father would always say, so it's a little scary to me I've crossed over into the dark side of making things up.
Walls says her father, in addition to being an alcoholic, was likely bipolar. Her mother, an artist, also battled mental demons. They moved their family around the country, sometimes at a moment's notice, before finally settling in West Virginia. At 17, Walls escaped to New York City, and after putting herself through college, became an entertainment reporter.
I was one of those people who viewers love to hate, sticking a microphone in the faces of celebrities asking them who designed their outfits.
I hated it. Yeah.
That was me. I'm like, this isn't the kind of truth-telling I thought I was going to do.
Can we just talk about the laugh for a second?
Sorry.
It's my favorite thing. It really is.
Oh, thank you. I can't help it.
Walls' parents eventually followed her to New York, where they lived in abandoned buildings with other squatters.
We've been living there about 6 years.
This footage of her parents is from the 1989 documentary, How to Squash a Squat.
My husband was a journalist with me at New York Magazine. He said, there's something about you that doesn't add up. He said, every time I ask you about your past, you change the topic. So I just changed the topic again. He finally pulled it out of me. His first reaction is that would make a great book. Yeah. And I honestly thought I'd get fired from my job.
Did I just hear you shift from like a clean accent to like West Virginia, Virginia? You definitely did.
Okay, I don't hear it, but the
like you let your guard down for a second.
My guard down, and out comes the hillbilly.
Yeah.
Out comes the mountain goat. So yeah, we all have a lot of personalities, but you know,
neither of us is high class. As much as we try to be, and think we are.
You know,
I hear you.
Rex Walls died in 1994. Rosemary in 2021. Both have been laid to rest on the 205-acre Virginia farm Walls shares with her husband, journalist John Taylor.
Yeah. Good horses.
Even though she is long removed from the nomadic lifestyle of her youth, Walls says she has no idea what comes next, and she wouldn't have it any other way.
I have no expectations. I am so lucky. I can't believe it. Sometimes I think I'm going to wake up and this will all have been some kind of a magnificent dream, and I'm still back in West Virginia without indoor plumbing. I can't believe it. I have nothing to ask of this world. There's nothing more that I want or expect. I didn't have to write this book. I didn't have to write Hang the Moon. It's just, life is so dang beautiful. And people are so much better than I thought they were, if you give them the chance to be.
I love when she talks about all those things that happened to her in the past that used to define her, and she just thought about them all the time. But once they're brought out into the light and they're exposed, now they're, as she says, they're just things that happened to her.
And she is so joyous,
Yes.
despite, or maybe because of what she's gone through. I also thought it was interesting that she says you choose your own truth in what you tell.
Yeah, how was your day today? Are you going to talk about the person who cut you off and you got really mad? Or are you going to talk about the wonderful store clerk who helped you out? You choose your truth.
She's been through a lot. I can't wait to read this book. That was a great story.
It's good.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the glass. I mean, everybody knows the glass castle at this point, but yeah.
And the laugh, of course.
And the laugh, Jeanette's laugh. Top 5 laugh of all time.